witches.
Hello.
It's been a
It
long week, okay?
really has been. It's been horrible.
And I know that y'all are listening to this on Saturday or later, but it's Thursday and it's already been a long week. Ugh.
And it's not over yet.
No, there's a whole nother day.
I got a
Ew.
whole other weekend.
Oh, right. You work on weekends now. Ew.
Yeah, last week I worked over 40 hours because we had a corporate visit, which is fine. They offered me more time and I got time and a half, so that's great and all, but
Right.
I'm
Fuck yeah.
tired. But I've worked 8 days in a row.
Ooh.
Today was my first day off in 8 days.
Yeah.
So I got Saturday off, but
And I
ugh,
was super glad that, so in the past, I've always stayed at school for parent teacher conferences, even though I already have multiple conferences a year with all my parents.
mhm.
Um, but my principal at this school was like, you already have conferences with your parents whenever they want them. You do not have to stay here for 3 hours. And none of them ever show up for that stuff anyway. I was there for open house and nobody showed up. So
What's the point of that, right?
I was like, I'm not staying. And it
Fuck you
worked out
guys.
because we ended up going to Kia so Brittany could get her business taken care of. So,
There you go.
yeah. But anyway, back to the book.
Yes. We left on chapter 68. The carver has entered the playing field,
Yeah.
and now we're on chapter 69.
Yes. So, on 609, I wrote, I love Vivian and Elaine as friends. I feel like Vivian would be good for Elaine
Oh,
because
yeah.
yeah,
Just somebody to, take her under your wing kind of thing.
right, because Elaine, they're all getting battle ready, right? They're all Feyre and Nesta and all of them are in their Illyrian leathers, and Elaine looks at them and is like, "Oh my god, I can't put on pants, because she's such a feminine, not goody shoes for lack of a better word. She doesn't like to show. She's modest.
Right.
There, that's the word I was looking for. So Vivian steps in and offers her the winter court um option, which is I think it's a knee length dress with a
It's like an
thigh length,
overcoat, too.
yeah, a thigh length coat with leather pants. Yeah. So I love those two as friends, and I love that Vivian just stepped in without her even anybody even asking. She just knew what she'd need.
I feel like Vivian's like the breath of fresh air. She's just
Yeah.
happy all the
And also
time.
a smart
Like
ass.
sunshine. Yeah. She's just sunshine.
Yeah. She's super sarcastic and she doesn't take no for an answer. I love her.
Um,
Oh,
And it's
sorry.
really sad at this point too because they're all heading off to battle.
Hmm.
They're getting ready to go into this fight and they don't know what's happening. So at this point they're all standing together just solemn and it's like this is the last time we might be together. We don't know what's going to happen and
Right.
it's really sad.
It is. It's
And
bittersweet kind of too.
yeah, and Reese is like, "Do you want the inspiring talk or the bleak one?" And Airman's like, "We want the real one." What are
Right.
you
What the
talking
fuck?
about? So then I love this quote. It really reminds me of the Dumbledore quote, um, and you'll hear it in a second. I believe everything happens for a reason, whether it is decided by the mother or the cauldron or some sort of tapestry of fate. I don't know. I don't really care, but I am grateful for it, whatever it is. Grateful that it brought you all into my life, and if it hadn't, I might have become as awful as that prick we're going to face today. And if I had not met an Illyrian warrior in training, I would have not known the true depths of strength, of resilience, of honor, and loyalty. If I had not met a shadow singer, I would not have known that it is the family you make, not the one you are born into, that matters. I would have not known what it is to truly hope, even when the world tells you to despair. If I had not met my cousin, I would have not learned that light can be found in even the darkest of hells, that kindness can thrive even amongst cruelty. And if I had not met a tiny monster, which is funny,
Yes.
who hoards jewels more fiercely than a fire drake, my own power would have consumed me long ago. And then he like quieted as he looked at Feyre and was like, "If I have not met my mate, I would have waited 500 years, more years for you, 1,000 years. And if this was all the time we were allowed to have, the wait was worth it." And it's like, aw. Then he finishes off by saying, "I believe that everything happened exactly the way it had to, so I could find you." And then he looks to her sisters and goes, "We have not known each other for long, but I have to believe that you were brought here into our family for a reason too, and maybe today we'll find out why." And it's like, oh,
Yes. And also, like, I love that, and I do know exactly what you're talking about because the even in the darkest of times, you can
light will
happiness can be
always find a
found.
way
Yeah,
in the
if you
dark.
only turn
Yeah,
on the
in the
light. Yeah.
yeah.
But on the page previous to that, Azrael gives Elaine his sword, Truth Teller,
Oh, yeah.
because Maja, the healer, won't let him fly with the legions. So he gives it to her, and that kind of becomes big later because, you know, so I thought
Important
that was
stuff.
cool. And then in all of that speech, where'd it go? What page am I on? Oh my gosh, I'm a mess.
610, 611, 612.
611. It's on 611. In all of that, um, Feyre is seeing in her mind Elaine, but she's seeing it as a fawn with blooming spring behind her, standing before death, um, shadows and terrors lurking over his shoulder, light and dark, the space between their bodies, a blend of the two. Because Elaine is looking at Azrael and he's handing her the knife or the blade, the sword.
Mm-hmm.
And I just wrote like because Reese is in her mind because they're connected, and he's like paint that when we get home, and I'm like I just love them. Like ooh, ooh.
I know, and it's like, yes.
Yes. And then I didn't
um,
have anything else until page 618.
I have some on 619, so.
I just love that then all of a sudden like things are not going great. Things are kind of like they're really nervous. They're not sure that they're going to be able to do this because um there's so much and there's like an armada now and shit. Or wait, maybe there's not that yet.
Not yet.
Anyway,
They haven't even started battling yet.
right. But like they see all of these like soldiers and they're like, ooh, like they're all worried. And then here comes Briaxis and then the Carver
Oh, yeah, she,
and
like, is telling him about the mating,
about the bond
uh,
with the
like
Carver.
her mating present or whatever, which I don't
Yeah.
understand that.
Well,
Was her mating. So I thought she got a tattoo, the mating present of, like, the tattoo of the, like, what did she say? Like, the lunar symbols down her. Oh. Column of her spine now inked from her base to her nape with four phases of the moon and the small star in the middle of them. I thought she got that tattooed as like a mating thing, but now I'm reading it as if
it's
she
the
got
bond.
that. Yeah, but then if both of them leave, then isn't doesn't it gets removed, right?
I don't know. I mean, maybe
So
not
like if
until the
one of
bond
them
is
died,
completed.
I don't know, maybe.
I don't know.
Is that Briax's thing or is that the Carver's?
Well, Briaxis was a ring around her arm, remember?
So then the bone carver was like that spine.
Yeah. That's what I
See,
understood.
I don't know. I'll get
So,
to
and
that
like
here in a
Reese
little while.
didn't know that she made the deal with the bone carver, right?
Right, because yeah, because everyone's like, oh, you retrieved it.
And then all of a sudden, we have another surprise. The Weaver, is it Striga, I'm guessing?
Stria is her name, yeah.
Striga, the Weaver, shows up with Ianthe's jewel on her head or in her hair
That's so perfect.
because Reese offered a bargain to her
Through Helion.
through Helion, yeah.
which is why he
Which is
was
why
there
he
in the
found
middle.
Feyre. Yeah, which makes a lot more sense now. Um, yeah,
And I like how the bone carver was like, "Oh, my sister
right,
is here," but then the sister just looked at him and smiled and was like, "Here we go."
right. Oh my gosh. And that's the end of chapter 69.
Yeah, cool. All right, chapter 70.
70.
Um,
Okay.
right off, right off the bat, I just have to complain for a second. Okay, there's a part on page 261. Do you have something before that?
No. But
Okay,
what?
on page.
621?
Oh, yeah.
I was like, wait a second. Oh,
I
we
saw your
jumping back.
face and I was like, "What do you mean? Where do you? What do you mean? I'm going with this? Like this is right." Okay. Yes. Sorry. 621. Where was it? Oh fuck. Um. Oh. Okay. And okay. So they're starting to fight, and she is, uh, describing Briaxe's fighting, and this is what it is. All I can make of it was a blur of ever-changing claws and fangs and wings and muscle, shifting and whirling within that dark cloud that struck and smothered. And I'm just like, I can just imagine like a cartoon brawl.
Yes.
Like get two people in a huge
Cloud
smoke
of
cloud
dust.
and
Yep.
you just see like arm here, arm there, a face here, like a foot there. And I'm like,
Yes.
what is happening?
That's what I imagined too. So I love that.
I hope she can describe it a lot better to like people at Hulu rather than the way she's
Right?
describing it now, because man, I tell you, that was whew. Mm-mm.
Yeah. We. Yep, I agree. Then on the next page, the armies collide, and wait, let me double check where I'm at. So I'm not. Oh, it's already getting messy. Emran says so. Like things are already kind of. Um, and then a horn sounds to the north, and it is the spring court, autumn court, and the humans from Grayson's um, compound, I guess, for lack of a better term.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and like spring and autumn, I expected, but I did not expect
Grayson's
Grayson.
army.
Yeah, I did not expect that. I was surprised.
You know, when I first read this, I didn't actually expect. I expected Grayson just because of Jurian. I
Yeah, and I
expected,
should have because of
yeah,
Jurian.
but I did not expect Spring Court.
I expected Springcourt. I did not expect Tamlin to be with them. I expected Springcourt's army to rally for Feyre because she had them
Yeah,
wrapped around her little finger. So like I kind of
right.
expected them to come back together for her, which might be
I
how Camp Tamlin convinced them. I don't know.
Yeah, right. I don't know. I just the way I expected it was I just feel like he wouldn't have showed up and then if they would have won the battle or whatever, I they would probably been like, well, why didn't Talon show up? And then maybe like go see why they didn't show up and then find out that like the King of Highburn like destroyed them like on the way to helping
Right,
them or something like that. I mean, they were right there. So that's what I was thinking. Obviously that's not what happens. But
right.
um I love how Tamlin just pops back into the picture and everyone's just like,
Ugh.
Tamlin wants orders.
Right, like well, tell him to fuck off. That's his orders.
Yeah,
um,
yeah, fucker.
and then um, Baron's sons, so his all of Eris and all of Eris's brothers are out there setting fire to all the wagons of Fabing, which is going to be like super helpful because Jesus. And then I literally wrote Jesus period fucking period Christ period the cauldron period the Illyrians period Cassian period.
Everyone. Yeah.
Because
Um,
all of a sudden Nesta like stumbles and almost takes Amryn down with her because Hybern is rousing the cauldron on page 625. And then
yeah.
Nesta starts screaming. She just starts screaming for Cassian. And Cassian ends up coming down, and then all of a sudden, the
Everybody else gets
cauldron,
blasted.
yeah, like all the other Illyrians get blasted out of the sky.
And the bone carver,
Yes, and
which
the bone
which
carver.
brings it. Okay, I have a comment from 623. I forgot to say, but real
Oh,
quick. Sorry, no. I'll finish my first thought, and then I'll go back. Okay, so she wrote basically. It's like the carver. I could have sworn he looked at me as the cauldron's power crashed into him. Could have sworn he smiled, and it was not a hideous thing at all. The cauldron wiped him away without any sign of effort. But like, and it's really sad too because like you could hear the sisters warning. You could hear like Striga scream about it.
yeah,
But basically, the way she wrote it, it sounded like the bond just went away.
yeah, and it,
So like,
maybe.
she's where's the is the tattoo there? Like,
Right, I don't know.
people cosplay with that tattoo on her back, and it's like, is this pre-battle?
Right, is this
Did you
still
just like
here?
take a moment?
um, but I think, like, I feel like he smiled because he was ready to, like, he wanted to die, I think.
Yeah, and
Because,
that's
like,
probably, I think that's what he was saying. Like, he wanted to make sure like this reason was a good enough reason to die and
yeah,
like do this.
yeah.
Um, no, the comment I wanted to say prior was I completely forgot about the surprise that she like wrote. I like the army's coming.
What?
So like spring court, the autumn court, like all of them coming. I completely forgot she wrote that, and that was like a kind of a surprise. Like no one knew about
Okay,
it.
okay, okay, got you.
Yeah, I didn't know about that, and it was really really funny. Um, so she makes a comment about Baron coming, and Eris just like winnowed to them to be like, hey, they want, we thought you might need some help. And it's like, but Baron had come. Eris registered our shock at that too and said, Tamlin made him, dragged my father out by his neck. A half smile. It was delightful.
Oh yeah, I that part made me chuckle as well.
I was like, all right, Tamlin, a little more good graces, and I got
Now
you, I
fuck
got you.
Tamlin, but
Oh,
Eris is
still,
growing
but
on
like,
me.
but honestly though, like that was funny.
Yeah.
Okay, anyways,
And then I wrote on page 627, well, fuck, because it killed the
yeah,
Carver.
and that's just terrifying how it just wiped away so many people.
Right, and the Carver is like Amryn, like he's like a
A death
fucking
god of some sort.
god from another, like, the word just went the fuck out of my head.
Dimension.
Dimension. Yeah. I was gonna say universe, but that wasn't it. But that's the
Yeah.
end of chapter 70. And then more surprises.
Yeah. So we're already at a terrifying moment in this entire book, like the climax of it all.
Yeah. I love how she
Um,
like well, I don't love it. It drives me fucking crazy. But I feel like her books are a slow fucking burn. And then in the last like 10 chapters, she packs
it's
in the
just
whole
there.
fucking story. Like we've been
Yeah.
building to this the whole time. And then it's like bam, 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 bam.
And then it's like you're like hungover because after the book
Right.
is done, you're like, well,
What
now
the
what?
fuck just happened? Like, I
Yeah.
know I finished it and I almost started the next book, even though we have some other episodes in between. But I was like, no, because I don't want to read it that far in advance and then forget what's going on.
Yeah. Yeah, I get that. Um, so what is it?
um,
Uh, oh, I guess I'm on 630 if you don't have anything.
I don't have anything written down till 6:32.
Okay. So basically, it's just getting to be super chaotic at this point. It's like all of the other High Lords are becoming overwhelmed. The Nightbringers, the Peregrines, the Illyrians, they're just getting slammed. Um, Hybern's sheer size, it was just beginning to push them back and overwhelm them, blah, blah, blah. And so, like, then they were starting to, like, well, who will be left? What's going on? Like, what happens? And then Reese is like, okay, like, you get across to this. Don't look back. Don't do this. If you can't, when it all goes to hell, when there's none of us left, and she's like, nope, don't say it. You're not saying it. And she goes, I want you to leave. Like, I want you to go. So it's like, yeah, this is serious. This is getting really serious. I don't think she was, like, ready for it.
Right. Well, because the Armada appeared finally.
Yeah.
Like the rest of Hybern's army showed up on ships, and it's just
Mm-hmm.
insane amount of soldiers. So that's why he's saying all of that.
Yeah, and he's just, it's kind of a sad moment because it's
It
like,
is, and she's like, "You said no goodbyes."
oh, yeah. Well, and then the next one, it was just like you could hear these horns, and Risa's like, what is it? And it's the missing friends, even more people.
Yes.
Dun 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 dun.
Surprise.
Not Darkons, Dracon's Legion, the Seraphim.
Yes.
Because the problem is that,
And then Miriam's people, all the ships,
yeah. And,
and
and,
ta-da!
oh my god, Papa Archeron.
Yeah, like what? Oh my gosh. So
I cried so much.
I it surprised me. Like I was not ready. They were like a weathered merchant. Where's it at? Friends of yours, I think. And then they looked down where da, 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 da. So many bearing. The Prince of Merchants. Apparently, he discovered the human queens were traitors a month ago and has been independently gathering human army force to face Hybern. Um, he named his three personal ships after them:
Yes.
the Feyre, the Elaine, and the Nesta.
And he was on the Nesta because it was fighting fiercely.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
That's what I'm saying. I was like, ah, the
Yeah.
redemption.
And then like Nesta gets emotional too, and I feel like whenever Nesta gets emotional, it's like, oh, my
And I
heart
know.
hurts.
And it's just so sad because it's like they first thought it was Lucian and they're like, yes, Lucian made it through, and they're like, oh no.
No,
No, no,
that's
no.
not him. But I
He's
mean, we did
there.
find him, but no, not him.
Nah, somebody already did all the work.
Right. And I love that their dad did all like because they had been kind of like thinking their dad was like useless and like
Yeah, he was just like off doing his own thing.
right, like he was not helpful and he wasn't not that he was dumb, but that he wasn't particularly savvy about like this kind of
Survival.
stuff and what's going on in the world. And then all of a sudden, like, so from the first book to this is like huge because in the first book he was just useless and like could barely walk and he was just sitting there making these little carvings and making Feyre
Hmm.
go off into the woods. And now he's like leading a fucking army.
He's proven himself worthy of what he should have done forever ago. And it's so like redemption. Like, oh,
Yeah.
yes, that's what we needed. But, anyways,
Yes. So
and that's it for chapter
that's it for that
71.
chapter. Yeah. Um, I don't have anything on chapter 72 until page 638.
I have one on 633 or 636.
Okay.
Okay, so basically, we're meeting Drakon. We're learning who these people are. Um, what is it? Oh, and so Reese goes, speaking of Vasa, was her curse ended? And then he's like, see for yourself. And then like they look off, and it was fast as a shooting star, spearing for hybrid, red and gold and white, vibrant as molten metal. Um, as it spread its wings wide, trailing sparks and embers across the waves, I realized what or who now flew at the enemy host, a firebird burning as hot and furious as a fort. heart of a forge, Vasa, the last queen. So it's just like Elaine's vision. And I wonder if any of her visions had anything to do with her dad.
I don't know. I don't like.
Maybe not like she didn't voice it, but I wonder if she had visions that had her dad and she just thought that they were like dreams because she didn't understand
Right,
them.
right. That could be. I
Whew,
don't know.
I don't know. Anyways, go ahead.
Oh, so on page 637 and 638, they're talking about how they're going to distract Hybern so that Feyre and Amryn can get to the cauldron. And Nesta decides that she's going to start pulling power to herself because she, in theory, should be able to do the same thing that the cauldron can do because she stole so much of the cauldron. And Cassian's like, he'll kill you, blah, blah, blah. And Cassie is going to guard her. And I would just wrote, I am so glad that I already know that they don't die. Like, because otherwise I would be like, how the fuck are they going to get out of this?
Right? Man, if we were reading this after like when it first it got published, we'd be like
I know, because the only reason I know they don't die is because I've read the back of Court of Silver Flames. So, like, I
right?
know that they're the main characters in that book.
Right? And okay, so they're following Striga up this mountain to get to the cauldron. They lost her. They don't know where she's at, but she's like going up, and all of a sudden, she just like pops out of like her hiding spot high
She's
up on the
fucking terrifying.
right. You're just like, fuck, where is she? And then she's just like, oh god, she's gonna kill us. And then she's just like, and then she starts going towards like the Hellhounds and the Hybrid soldiers and the commanders of who like they're gonna do this, or this. And then she's like hiding because they're like, we can't go anywhere until like the king gets lured out. And then all of a sudden, just footsteps walk by, and it's the King of Hybern walking past Amryn and Feyre, and Amryn's like, now's the time. But then
Right?
right before they ran, though, they literally just watched the King of Hybern walk up to her, and he's just like, oh, what is it? Um, oh, where is it? Fuck, where is it? Where is it? I don't know. It literally says 6:39, and
I wrote this is so stressful, but I think that's in the next chapter, isn't it?
fuck, did I do it wrong?
That's okay, because I didn't have anything else for this chapter other than this is so
Well,
stressful.
I'm sure it killed her, but it was a smart choice, and now I don't know what I said it to. I'm sure it killed her.
Oh, is it when Nesta looked down to Elaine, our sister monitoring the bloodbath ahead, then to me, she said quietly, tell father thank you. She wrapped her arms around tightly around Cassian, those gray blue eyes bright, and then they were gone. And then Farrah's like, he might survive. Um, and Reese says, no, he won't.
Oh no, I did. I remembered. Uh, Amryn told her not to look back, and then it says she didn't, and I was like, I'm sure it fucking killed her, but it was a smart choice not to look back. 'Cause she would have gotten distracted.
Right, 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 right. For sure.
I skipped ahead.
It's okay, because it's literally like the next page that's on, right?
Yeah, I only
Um,
have one thing for chapter 73, so we could do that. Then we'll do a break.
yeah, I have two, but not a lot. Like so on 642, like you were just talking about, um, Striga
Striga.
smiled once, a hateful, awful smile leaped upon them, a diversion, and then the weaver paused as she beheld who approached, smiled, blood dripping off her chin. It's the king of Hybern. How beautiful you are, how magnificent, ancient one. And then she's like, you may bow, king, as it was once done. And then he just fucking snaps her neck and then throws her to the hellhounds or the Naga hounds. Um, and I'm just like, she should have fucking
just
ate him. Like she shouldn't have even given him a chance to get that close to her. She
right?
should have just fucking ate him. It would have been all over.
Think of
But
the
I do like how he dies. So
shh, we haven't got there yet.
I know, but
Um, at this point though, even after her death, I'm curious how many people she killed and how. I mean, they talk about her teeth being stumps, so it's like, how did you quickly go
right.
through all these like this bloodbath of like soldiers?
I don't
Like,
fucking
what'd you
know.
do? How'd you do it?
Ooh, I don't know. It's gross. I don't like it. The only other thing I wrote about this chapter is on page 643.
I'm done. I don't have any more.
Oh, okay. On 643, when it says Amryn had lied, she did not plan to leash the king or his army with the cauldron in the book, and whatever trap she had set, I had fallen right into it. That's the very last thing in the chapter, and I was like, wait, what the fuck? Like, there's no way Amryn's bad. Because that's kind of what it made me think when they first said that. But we will find out in just a moment. What are you doing? Why do you keep changing colors?
Ugh,
It's
I don't like it.
a rave.
I thought maybe I could make it like a different color so it wouldn't look so like bright in my face, and it's just freaking me out.
There you go. That one's better. Oh, there you
And
go.
this one's the best. Okay. I was doing the RGB setting instead of the like the mode, and I was like, oh, this will like change the color. Yeah, incorrect. Okay. Anyways, our break. All right, we're gonna continue
Weird
our
but
weird but
true.
true. All right, number 32. I'm gonna butcher this name. Hot topic. Hmm. Hot topic. Swedish botanist Carolus Linnaeus Linnaeus was probably the one who turned the Celsius thermometer upside down. Linnaeus is best known for devising the Latin binomial nomenclature "behumans", or as Linnaeus would say, Homo sapiens, still used to describe plants, animals, and minerals today. He unveiled his change to the Celsius thermometer in December 1745, about a year after Celsius's death. I don't understand anything in that.
Well, binomial nomenclature is like how, like scientific names of things.
Oh, oh, okay, okay, okay. That's weird.
Um, and the Celsius thing, I don't really understand, but
Yeah,
the whole
I
Fahrenheit
didn't,
versus Celsius confuses the shit out of me anyway.
I didn't realize Celsius is upside down, like the
I didn't
thermometer.
either.
Whatever. It's probably not anymore, and we just never learned about him. Okay, 70 something. 73. That was quick. You'll always remain afloat in quicksand because the human body is less dense than the sand. So you can get stuck, but you won't drown.
Oh,
The quick in quicksand comes from the Middle English word that means living because the sand gives the impression of being alive.
interesting.
Yeah, that one's pretty good. I like that one.
And that's also like good to know because from all the movies and like shit that you read when you're young, like in elementary school and shit, I thought that quicksand was going to be a much bigger issue in my life than it actually is.
Yeah, and it's only like around places with like a lot of water. It's not necessarily like in a desert. It's every single thing I've ever seen where it's happened. It's like literally a water. Like what was it? I watched a video on this the other day where this guy was like, "Oh, that's a pretty cool looking tree. I want to go take some pictures on it." But wait, let's check to see if the sand is quicksand. And then he throws like a rock, and then it drops through, and he goes, "That's quicksand, all right." And he was like, "Got to be careful out there." But if you ever get caught in quicksand, and then he was like, "Float," because like you'll float. Like try to bring your lower body up to the surface and then literally just kind of like swim your way to the like to the edge. And then it was basically like this place with sand that was floating on top of water. So it looked like you could walk on the sand, but it was like you step on it and you go straight through and you're in
Huh.
water. It was absolutely terrifying.
That's kind of cool
Mm,
though.
yeah, it's
Um,
cool, but I was like, that's terrifying. No, thank you.
remind me to
Okay.
tell you later a fun fact about sand in my classroom.
Okay. And our last one. I hear that. This is on page 174. An earworm is a repetitive, catchy song or piece of music that lodges itself in your brain and won't leave. Strategies such as listening to a different song or playing the earworm song in an effort to get it out of your head generally don't work and might even make the situation worse. Earworms almost always are songs or jingles with lyrics.
Hmm, that makes sense.
Yeah, I feel like the more I listen to it, the more I sing it.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. I think sometimes listening to something different works though for me. Maybe
Am
not
I just
completely, but it like distracts my mind for the moment, I
for just a
guess.
little bit? Yeah.
Right.
All right. That's it
Oh,
for weird but true facts.
okay.
Chapter 73.
70?
No, it's not.
No, 74.
74.
Yeah.
I
So,
had a lot written down for this
oh
one.
my god. Like, I just can't even. Um,
Okay. I have some on page 646.
okay, go ahead.
Does every High Lord have like a creature within? Because the
Okay.
story talks about how Reese literally shapeshifts into a fucking raven beast
Yes.
flying creature.
And
And then all
the,
of a sudden, Helion's got the day version of him.
which is basic, it sounds like a griffin to me. Like it,
Yeah. And then, I don't know about Thiessen, but his people got wings. I mean, he doesn't, but like, he probably could get wings. And
and then
then
Tamlin,
Tamlin is just,
the
I don't know,
beast,
this
he
fucking
has the
weird
beast form.
chimera looking thing.
Right. So
I
I
really
feel
don't
like
know
it
what he
totally
is.
could be like, um,
And is it like within the family, like the High Lord family? So it's like this guy's a High Lord, the son will get it, or does it like, for instance, does it pass on? Like, let's say Reese doesn't have any kids and he dies, and so it goes on to the next high. Like, do they get that power too?
I feel like
Like,
that's it. I feel like it's whoever's the High Lord gets that power.
because I didn't know if it was like a family thing or what. And
Um,
do they all look like birds? Like, does Tamlin have like a different shape shifting one?
well, so that's what I was thinking because like I don't think they all look like birds because like Tamlin is like a chimera or whatever, and then I would in my mind I'm thinking like Baron is probably like a dragon, right? Because the fire, like, or maybe even a phoenix.
Maybe.
Now I feel like probably maybe like Dawn is like a phoenix because it's like the
Yeah.
rebirth of the day. And then I'm imagining Tarquin as a fucking kraken, and I'm dying. Like I'm just imagining it
Please,
sprouting out all of these arms.
please, please let somebody yell, release the Kraken.
And Tarquin's just like,
He like transforms like Sailor Moon.
oh my
Oh,
gosh.
that's good. I don't know. But here's the thing, though. I mean, even if it was a Kraken, I mean, he's right next to water. Why didn't he get into the water or like run towards the water? But also, why didn't Baron shapeshift? Like, was he fighting or was he like hanging back, just like telling?
I feel like Baron's bitch ass is probably like hiding in a tent somewhere, or he might have left already and just left his soldiers. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. And it's like,
But I was
well,
wondering that too. Like, why didn't Tarquin and all the water benders, look at me go, like all the water, the water controlling people,
yeah, like
like
how?
drown the
Why didn't they do
ships,
it? Yeah,
right?
I see. I don't know.
Like
I'm just
when the Armada showed up, why didn't they start like either push them away with your magic or drown them or what?
right.
Anyway,
Yeah, it doesn't make sense. I mean, I know most of them. I wonder if it. Here's something though. I wonder if it. I wonder if it requires power, like magic power or whatever, and most of them were already spent, like holding
oh,
on, and Reese still had some of his power left
plus
by
he's
the
the
end of the
most
battle.
powerful High Lord, right? So like,
Did you see that fall?
I didn't. I just saw your face.
Okay, my desk has like a headphone holder, and it's underneath my desk, and I was trying to cross my legs, and my knee fucking made contact with it, and then my entire desk shook, and I have this makeshift tri-fold thing going on here with my ring light. So it's like okay, so Will has this um like it's like this weird mic. It's really like long and skinny. Honestly, it reminds me of like a skinny dildo. I just stare at that thing like, what the fuck is that? Anyway, so it's like the mic stand of it. Well, the way my desk and everything is positioned, I can't get my ring light to sit properly so it illuminates my face. So I have to do with what I got, and that is exactly what I got. And it falls because it tips over because it's like top heavy. It's literally sitting cockeyed. So
Well,
it falls quite frequently and it pisses me off.
oh my god.
And it scares the shit out of Will. If he like hits my desk like tiny, like very tiny, like, and the thing just topples over, he like flips out. He's like, "What the fuck was that?" Oops, sorry. Anyways, I have something on the next page. I'll
I
let you
don't
go.
have anything else until page 648/49.
Oh, okay. Well, I got a couple things. Okay. I'm not gonna lie. I fucking cried during this. Okay, so on page 647, um, after the King of Hybern was distracted, he like ran. He was going towards Nesta. Um, he winnows and appears in front of them with Papa Archeron, and it's like, no,
Uh huh.
no. They're
Uh huh.
supposed to have like a reconnection. They're supposed to have a family reunion, and there's supposed to be one big happy family. Maybe even he become Fae. Like, no.
Uh huh.
And that fucker, he literally was like, "What will you give me, Nesta Archeron? What will you give me in return? Will you give back what you took?" And Nesta's like begging, like, "Please, please don't kill him."
She's like, yes, I'll give it back. Like,
Yeah, and he goes, "Even if I have to carve it out of you." And then the father snarled, "Don't you lay your filthy hands on my daughter." And as soon as he started saying that, they heard a crack in the air, and it was like Papa Archeron died.
uh huh.
Cleanly, but died.
I literally wrote, like, I said page 48 to 648 to 649 because that and then into what he does next, like, he's a fucking idiot. Does he not realize what Nesta is? Like, the king
Right,
is an idiot. So you just killed her dad, which was your one bargaining chip, and now you're hurting the person that you know she has a connection with. Like, that's why you're hurting him because you know they have a connection because he starts hurting Cassian. And I'm just like, are you fucking stupid?
right. Well, and one thing is, I absolutely wish Feyre and Elaine were able to see their dad one last time.
Yeah.
Like, if he had to die, he had to die. But like, I wish Feyre and Elaine, just to get some sense of normalcy back in her, and then Feyre to maybe be like, "Look, I've done so well for myself. I'm powerful. I can take care of the family." And like maybe he could be like, "All right, I can leave you." Like kind of like
Right.
I completed and set my promise. Like I completed the promise.
Yeah.
You could die peacefully, kind of thing. So like
Yep.
she's not guilt ridden for the rest of her life. But we didn't get that, so that's okay. Fuck.
Yeah. So all that's happening, and then she uses the rest of her power, and Cassian's like, "You need to go. You need to go." And she's like, "No, I'm not leaving you." Um, and so I was like, "So how did they get out of this?" Like on page 650, well, 651 to 652, like what's gonna happen if she's used her last little scrap of power? And then Pharaoh's like, "I will offer you a bargain. I will offer you my soul if you save them." But the cauldron doesn't respond. But Feyre thinks it does because all of a sudden, the king's hand drops and a choking noise comes out of him. And it's fucking Elaine.
I
Elaine, this
know.
badass bitch, comes out of nowhere and stabs the truth teller, the black blade of Azriel's, through his throat, um, and says, "Don't touch my sister."
And here's the thing. I'm sure Elaine saw the whole like sweet moment that Nesta and Cassian had, and she was just like, "My sister's happy for once," and just like,
Right. Was like, "No, fuck you, bro. You don't get to fuck this
and
up."
it's like that whole thing that Cassian like his speech to her totally made it, and they kept it so low key. Not
Yes.
that I mean, it's not necessarily like we're mates. It literally was just like, um,
I have no regrets in my life but this, that we did not have time, that I did not have time with you, Nesta. I will
yeah,
find
and
you
it's
dead in the
like.
next world, the next life, and we'll have that time, I promise.
And
Right?
I feel like that like really surged Elaine into making the like not killing blow, but the blow.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, she's happy. Don't you dare fuck this up, you asshole.
Yeah,
And then
and
she
so
goes,
Elaine like shoved the sword in, and then Nesta goes over there and just twists that bitch. She's like,
right.
"No,
And here's
we
the thing,
not
it's
doing
like
this today."
Elaine is so amazing. She like no fucking doubt about it. She literally took down a centuries old wizard. Like, and she's a 20
Yeah.
something year old. She's just like,
And
fuck
she's like
it.
a
Let's
delicate
do.
flower. Like she's been
Yeah.
depressed and she's not been
She's just like,
okay.
she
She
goes
just
crazy.
shoves it right through there.
Right?
And then Nesta's like, "Let me twist it and twist it and twist it." And then his head pops off. It's fine.
Yeah. I put that, so that's in chapter 75. And I,
Oh,
and
sorry.
I'm,
Yeah.
no, you're good. Got ahead of yourself. And it's so funny. I was like, I was talking about this to Will last night. I was like, babe. And he goes, what? And I was like, Nesta is a badass bitch. Let me
Yes.
rephrase that. Nesta is an unhinged badass
Yes.
bitch.
No, she's like smiling, the same gleam in her eyes. She smiled a little, like, "This bitch is crazy."
Yeah, the same gleam she'd had that day in Highburn when she pointed her finger at him in a death promise. She smiled a little as if she remembered too. And when she pushed the blade like a worker heaving the smoke or the spoke of a mighty grinding wheel, the king's eyes flared, then his head tumbled off his shoulders. And it's like she didn't seem to care as she bent over as she took up his fallen head and lifted it into the air and stared at it into Hybern's dead eyes, his gaping mouth. She did not smile. She only stared and stared and stared, savage, unyielding, brutal. And then it's like, Nesta. Like Elaine whispered to her, and she's like, oh,
Right, right. Okay.
okay. And then she just like let it go and rolled away. Oh god, it was
Yes.
so funny. And it's funny too because like Feyre's watching all of this through the cauldron.
Right, like from afar. She's not even actually there.
Yeah, she's just like the cauldron searched Nesta out, so that's how she saw her dad die. She saw like Hybern death, and it's like the cauldron seemed to realize that what she'd done too, as his head thumped into the mossy ground. That Elaine had defended this thief. Elaine, who had gifted with such powers, found her so lovely it had wanted to give her something. It would not harm Elaine, even its hunt to reclaim what had been taken. It retreated the moment Elaine's eyes fell on her dead father lying in the adjacent clearing. The moment the scream came out of her, and then at that point, it like whipped her back. to
Yeah,
where the cauldron was actually sitting.
with Amryn too.
Yeah,
And then I don't have anything else until page 658.
go ahead.
It just says no, not Amryn.
Yeah, I.
And
It's so
Varian's
sad
there
at this point.
too.
Yeah, and Varian's just like, oh, and like Aaron's like, man, I've always wanted this. I've always wanted but I think I wonder if my father knew if he saw how I watched them love, hate, and build and open that rip in the world, not as punishment, but as a gift. For it had been a gift this time with you, with all of you. It had been a gift. And then Varian's just like, I am begging you, please don't do this. And then she just ignored him, was like, tell the High Lord to leave out a cup for me. And then it's like, I watched the most the humans you loved. I never understood it, how it happened, why it happened. But I think I might have learned with you though, perhaps that was the last gift too. And it was like, oh, she's admitting to Varian that she loves him, and it's like she's giving herself up to help her friends.
Yes. Ugh.
And it's just like she's like, I'm not gonna remember you guys at all as this person. Like I'm not gonna do this, I'm not gonna be able to do that. So don't run. I will just be attracted to that. Like just try to
Stay
stay clear.
still.
Yeah, and it's like, ugh.
Yeah.
But you know what? The respect that Amryn had for Feyre when instead of calling her girl, she called her Feyre. She was like,
Yeah.
I'm glad I met you too, Feyre, and it wasn't girl.
Yeah. And then I literally like so she throws herself in there and then she like goes and basically beats the whole army, defeats the whole fucking Hybern army. And I literally just wrote on page 660, no, I do not accept. There had to be another way. Like I was fucking
Right?
pissed.
Right? And it's like, God damn it, are you serious? And
What
so at
chapter
this
did you
point,
read to?
I read to 78.
Okay. I was just making sure.
But yeah, and then it's just really sad because it's like she just disappeared. She's just
Yeah.
gone.
Just like winked out of existence. There was only light, bright, clean light dancing on the waves. But
Yep.
she won them the whole war. So like basically she sacrificed herself by
And
jumping in the cauldron and having
destroyed.
Feyre do the spell.
Yeah. And just destroyed everybody.
Oh yeah, because she was in her
Um,
true form. Like even though the bone carver and the weaver were there, they weren't in their true forms, right?
yeah, no, they were in
In their like
they
mortal
to get
body.
the yeah, to get the bone carver out of the prison, he had to be bound to him like to another body, like how
Yeah,
Amryn got out.
right. So they weren't
So
like they were still terrifying.
I think Briaxes was the only one in his true form.
Right.
I don't know about Striga, but definitely Briaxes. Um, but yeah, chapter 76. Now it's sad because it's like Variant's crying because it's like his love is
Right.
gone.
Well, because like Amryn, are you freaking kidding me? Ugh.
I wouldn't say like one of the most selfish people in this book because she does a lot of selfless stuff and actions, but like they call her a fire drake for a reason. She's got to have something.
Yeah. And then the cauldron now is like kind of like a rip in the the cosmos. It's like a void
Oh
going.
yeah,
Um,
it like kind of broke. Aaron
yeah.
broke it.
And it says there was a fissure in the world within the shards of the cauldron, and it was growing. The cauldron could never be destroyed. We had been warned because our very world was bound to it. If the cauldron were destroyed, we would be too. So, um, now Feyre's like trying to figure out how to it makes me this part makes me laugh a little bit. She's trying to figure out, she's looking at the book trying to figure out how to remake the cauldron, but the only person who knew how to read that book was Amryn, who is now gone. So Feyre in it like has a little hissy fit and throws the book into the void in the cauldron, so now it's fucking gone. You're not
Yeah,
getting it
it's gone
back.
for good.
And she's like, ugh, it's missing out. So I wrote on this page 663 because he's like be a conduit, make the cauldron anew. Um, and so like she's using the rest of her power and Reese's power to do this. And I literally wrote no, nope, no, bad idea.
Yeah. And
But it works.
yeah, it works. And it's like she needs more power to help bind it, and all of that. And it's like Reese handed over everything, and as they're working on binding the thing, he like whispers in her mind, "I love you," and it's like he knows something's gonna happen because the last
But
time
she
Feyre,
doesn't figure it out because she's like,
no, she's so busy focusing on it. And the sad thing is, it's like Feyre even said, "If I have to do anything with the cauldron, I would have lost my life." And I think it was Amryn who was just like, "Well, of course, like a life for a life. Like you're doing
right.
this, you have to give something to get it. It's magic." And it's just so sad because he's just like, "I love you," and it's like,
Yep.
what's happening? And then he said it again, and then as soon as the third and final crack healed over, like that was it. His power began to sputter, but it kept coming, and yeah.
And then on page
And
666, I wrote, I fucking knew it. And then I underlined page 666 3 times because on page 666, Reese was dead.
yep,
Is this the page that you were like, don't look up?
yeah.
Okay. I figured once I read it, I was like, oh, oh, there it is.
Yep. We were going through pages to see like what chapter we wanted to end on and how many pages we had to read before we wanted to start recording the next one. I had already looked at the page number and she was actively like going through it, and I was like, don't look up, don't read it, like cover it, whatever you do, cover it, because if like it wouldn't have like ruined the story, but it definitely would have ruined the suspense built up to
Yeah.
that part, and it would have just
But
been,
if you remember right, before that, I called it
yeah,
because I
you're
was
like
like,
someone dies.
at first I was like, Feyre dies. And then I was like, it's
And then
not
I was like,
Feyre.
the look I was giving you, like, are you sure?
And then I was like, it's not her. Because I think something happened in one of the earlier chapter, or the
Yeah,
earlier chapters. And
you're
I was
like,
like, oh
something's
no.
something like this is gonna happen. This is gonna do it. I think it was like before we knew the whole like Ouroboros
Oh, yeah, I think you're
thing.
right.
Because you're like, oh my god, one of them's gonna die.
Yeah, but then I decided that it was Reese and not Feyre, and it was Reese, and it was on page 666 that he died.
Yep. What a cliffhanger, y'all.
Right? Oh
For
my
those people who
gosh.
are following along with us, you'll have to wait till next time. For those who know, you know.
Oh my
Anyways,
gosh. Yeah, and that's where we were supposed to stop reading, and I finished the book that night because I was like, the fuck, I'm stopping there. I don't.
yeah, you gotta know what happens next, right? That's why I was like,
Right, like, although I have lots of words about it, so next episode will be very interesting. Why'd you just get
yes.
blurry? Oh, there you are. Hi.
I went out of frame. Anyways,
Anyways,
all
all
right.
right.
Our witch tip of the
Bye.
week.
Oh, right. I forgot about that. Just kidding.
We don't really have like a typical witch tip of the week. But oh, I guess I have it. I wouldn't say it's a witch tip, but it's something fun. So October's coming up, so that means Halloween, all the good stuff. And for those who have Disney Plus and who are interested in Hocus Pocus is coming to Disney Plus on September 30th. And so you'll have to watch it then because we will be doing a bonus episode over it. Um, so our thoughts, our reactions, all of that, and just things that we liked about it compared to the original Hocus Pocus.
And I don't think
Uh,
you've read it, but I've read the book, the Hocus Pocus sequel book.
there's a
Um,
book.
there is. I got it at Target a couple years ago. But there's a book, and the first book, like it's Hocus Pocus, the first movie, in book form, and then they wrote a sequel. So I'm also interested to give my opinions on how well the book matched up to the movie.
I was just at Target looking at all kinds of books. I literally bought a book, and I was like, none of them. Okay, and what I was gonna say is a Hocus Pocus book. It's not. a storybook at all, but it's literally called the Hocus Pocus spell book, and it's so cute, um, because it's supposed to be Winifred Sanderson's spell book or one of the spell
Oh.
books that she's yeah. It doesn't look like the leather backed book that we see in Hocus Pocus one, um, but it's like it's on brand. So like when you open it up, it literally says like the witch museum or something like that. Like this belongs to blah 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 blah. This is a known artifact that has been found, and then like like the typical museum speech. And then the next page, there's like a little excerpt from it, and where it's just like belongs to Winifred Sanderson, 31st October 1669 or something like that, or 1699. And then it was it says uh, keep your noses out of my book, you brats.
I love it.
But basically, it's like a spell book for those who are interested in, okay, not necessarily really interested in being a red witch because that's a little like black magic-y, but it's a fun little quirky book about how to be a red witch, and it's essentially how to be the Sanderson sisters. And it's so cute because it's got like the little spell books. It's like Eye of Newt, this of this, like a little drop of this, dead man's toes, and then it's got like pictures and like cute little things from, yeah, it's just really cute.
I love that.
It's at Target right now. I don't know how much it is, but if you're a red card member, you got 20% off. So, but yeah,
Also, I just thought of it, but isn't today or yesterday was the autumn equinox?
I think that's today,
So, um,
the 22nd.
oh, so today, yeah.
Maven,
So
I think is how you pronounce it.
cinnamon, clove, spice, um,
Yeah, it's today. It's at
baking is
9:03 p.m.
baking is a good. And when we say today, we mean Thursday, the 22nd. But I was reading the other day that one of the traditional ways to celebrate is baking, specifically using cinnamon, clove, and ginger, I believe. So,
Ooh, yeah. There's also something too. Um, it's a pagan holiday, just like right now. So it begins Wednesday, September 21st, and it'll end on Thursday, September 29th. But I don't know how to pronounce it. Mabon, Mabon. It's a
yes.
pagan holiday and one of the 8 Wiccan Sabbats celebrated during the year. Maven celebrates the autumnal equinox in the northern hemisphere. This September 23rd will be the autumnal. Oh, that's from 2019, so it's
Yeah, but
definitely not the 23rd. Yeah,
it's still now.
yeah. Um, so yeah, um, it's it's named after the god of Welsh mythology. He is the child of light and the son of the earth mother goddess Modron. So yeah, there you go.
All right.
Fun
Bonus
facts.
witch dib.
Yeah. I was trying to
All
figure out what
right.
day it was, and then it popped up like all these cool pagan stuff. So I was like, oh, okay, cool. Anyways,
All right.
until next time.
Bye.
Bye.